Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Shubhendu Ghosh, coming up in the next 30 minutes. World leaders join Switzerland summit to seek broader consensus for Ukraine's peace proposal. Draft communique condemns Russia's attack on Ukraine. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu pledges to stick to his war goals after 8 soldiers killed in southern Gaza. Gun violence reported in the US again. 10 people, including children, shot and wounded in Michigan. And in T20 Cricket World Cup, India versus Canada match in Florida abandoned due to wet outfield. India enters the Super 8 unbeaten. World leaders gathered at a Swiss alpine resort on Saturday to seek broader consensus for Ukraine's peace proposal at the summit. The talks focused on broader concerns triggered by the conflict, such as food and nuclear security. Leaders of over 90 countries participated in the two-day summit. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky trumpeted the summit's attendance as a success and predicted history being made.
The very idea of war has already lost. Putin should switch from the language of ultimatums to the language of the world majority, which wants a just peace. The UN Charter is the basis for us. And then, when the action plan is on the table, agreed by all and transparent for the peoples, then it will be communicated to the representatives of Russia. And so, that at the second peace summit we can fix the real end of the war. Now we are starting this path together. We must prove that the united world is a world of peace, a world that knows how to act correctly.
World leaders have strongly rejected ceasefire terms laid out by President Vladimir Putin to stop the conflict. German Chancellor Olaf Scholz dismissed it as dictatorial peace, while UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak slammed Russia for putting conditions for ceasefire.
It is true, peace in Ukraine cannot be achieved without involving Russia. But let us not forget that, as we speak, Russia continues to relentlessly wage its brutal war. We all know Russia could end this war today or at any given moment once it ceases its onslaught and withdraws troops from Ukraine.
And we should ask, why does Russia feel that they are so threatened by a summit discussing the basic principles of territorial integrity, food security, and nuclear safety? Instead, Russia's representative at the United Nations recently said, the only topic for any international meetings on Ukraine will be the unconditional surrender of the Kyiv regime. Well, that will never happen, because aggression cannot and will not prevail.
And Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida called on international leaders to work together to achieve a lasting peace in Ukraine.
On the basis of the idea that Ukraine today could be East Asia tomorrow, Japan has been implementing tough sanctions and providing strong support for Ukraine ever since Russia began its invasion more than 2 years ago. The achievement of a just and lasting peace in Ukraine is symbolically important in leading the international community in its entirety towards a world not of division and confrontation but of cooperation.
Meanwhile, a draft of a communique for Ukraine Peace Summit says future peace negotiations should involve representatives of all parties in the conflict and follow agreements on nuclear security, food security, return of prisoners of war and kidnapped children. It urges Ukraine's territorial integrity to be respected. The document also calls for Kiev to regain control of the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant and access to its seaports. Updates on the Israel-Hamas conflict now. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has reiterated his pledge to defeat Hamas and bring the hostages back. In a video statement issued late on Saturday, Netanyahu says there was no alternative but to stick to the goals of the conflict. His statement comes just after 8 Israeli soldiers were killed in southern Gaza.
Despite the heavy staggering cost, we must stick to the goals of the war. The destruction of Hamas military and governmental capabilities, the return of all our hostages, ensuring that Gaza no longer poses a threat to Israel, and the safe return of our residents to their homes, both in the north and in the south.
The Israeli military said on Sunday it would hold daily tactical pauses in military activity in parts of southern Gaza to allow more aid to flow into the enclave, where international aid organizations have warned of a growing humanitarian crisis. Military activity would be paused from 500 GMT until 1600 hours GMT daily until further notice along the road that leads from Kerem Shalom crossing to the Salah al-Din road and then northwards. Moving on, as many as 10 people, including children, were shot and wounded at a city-run water park near Detroit on Saturday evening. In the US, the suspect was still at large, but police said that they believe he was cornered in a house nearby. The gun was found at the scene. It was not immediately clear if there were any fatalities. The police says initially the report was of 5 people being shot. In Slovakia, Peter Pellegrini was sworn in as the country's president on Saturday in the capital, Bratislava. Pellegrini, a member of Prime Minister Robert Fico's nationalist left coalition, won the country's presidential elections in April. Prime Minister Fico, who took power for the 4th time last October, has turned the country's foreign policy towards more pro-Russian views and initiated reforms of criminal law and media, raising concerns about weakening the rule of law. Fico is recovering at home after being shot 4 times at close range when he greeted supporters at a government meeting in central Slovak town of Handlova on May 15th. In a surprise announcement on Saturday, former French President François Hollande said he would stand for Parliament in the upcoming legislative elections. Hollande says he would stand as an MP for the southwestern Curies department of the New Popular Front, a left-wing grouping formed for the elections that includes socialists, hard left, Greens and the Communists. Hollande is not the first president to run for legislative election after leaving the Élysée Palace. In 1984, 3 years after his defeat against François Mitterrand in presidential elections, Valéry Giscard was elected MP for Puy-de-Dôme department. The elections, with the first round on June 30th and the second on July 7th, were called by President Macron after far-right National Rally trounced his own centrist ruling party in this month's European elections, recording more than double its vote. Muslims across the world, including Gulf countries, Egypt, Morocco, began Eid-ul-Adha celebrations with prayers and greetings on Sunday. The festivities will be celebrated in India on Monday. Eid-ul-Adha is observed on the 10th day of Dhul al-Hijjah, the 12th and the last month in the Islamic lunar calendar. Following the conclusion of the yearly Hajj pilgrimage, celebrations are contingent upon valid lunar sighting. While Eid-ul-Adha is not directly related to Hajj pilgrimage, it is significant chronologically since it falls just 1 day after the pilgrimage concludes. Eid-ul-Adha is celebrated in remembrance of the devotion and faithfulness of Prophet Ibrahim to Allah. Eid-ul-Adha is celebrated to honor Prophet Ibrahim's willingness to offer his son Ismail as a sacrifice and his steadfast loyalty to God. And India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi has conveyed his warmest greetings to Prime Minister of Bangladesh, Sheikh Hasina, and to the people of Bangladesh on the occasion of the holy festival of Eid-ul-Adha. In his letter, Prime Minister Modi highlighted that the festival reminds us of the value of sacrifice, compassion and brotherhood, which are essential in building a peaceful and inclusive world. He also noted Eid-ul-Adha as an integral part of our multicultural heritage and said Indian High Commission in Dhaka. Prime Minister Modi wished PM Hasina and continued to be in good health and well-being. Bangladesh will celebrate Eid-ul-Adha on 17th June. The Democratic Republic of Congo has received nearly 700,000 doses of a new malaria vaccine to help control and eradicate the tropical disease. The vaccine was developed by Serum Institute of India, will be administered to children between the age of 6 to 23 months starting later this year. DD India correspondent Chris Ochamringa has more from Kinshasa.
A consignment of vaccines against the leading killer disease in the Democratic Republic of Congo arrives in Kinshasa. The R21 Matrix M vaccine was developed by India's Serum Institute to help prevent malaria deaths in children. Studies have shown it to be 75% effective. Many senior Congolese officials were excited to receive them.
We are here to receive a vaccine against malaria for the first time. As you know, malaria is one of the biggest causes of mortality, especially among our children and grandchildren. They are the ones paying the heavy price.
Malaria is spread by a bite of an infected mosquito. The DRC is reported to have the second highest number of malaria deaths globally. The country recorded over 24,000 deaths last year. Most of them were among children under the age of 5. The vaccine was approved by the World Health Organization in October last year.
I think this vaccine will be a real game changer in terms of preventing malaria. As you know, DRC is one of the 11 what you call high burden malaria countries around the world. Given the size of a country in terms of land size and population, DRC is really when we think this vaccine can make a difference.
Congolese authorities plan to roll out the vaccine later this year, but they'll have to convince many parents who are skeptical about vaccines due to misinformation spread during the COVID-19 pandemic.
This is a tried and true product. We know the effects of malaria. We know what that will do to the people here and especially to children. So when there is a reliable product that can reduce the mortality and the impact of this disease, I would say, you know, the malaria is a far greater, they should be far more afraid of malaria than the vaccine.
Figures from health organizations show that sub-Saharan Africa has suffered the most from malaria, accounting for 90% of cases and deaths annually. Health officials in the DRC are optimistic about reducing and eventually eradicating malaria in their country with the arrival of the vaccines from India. But that will depend on the uptake of the vaccines by the population, which has in the past been hesitant to get their children vaccinated against killer diseases. Chris Ochamringa in Kinshasa, reporting for DD India.
Thousands of women protested on Saturday against a bill advancing in Brazil's Conservative Congress that would equate abortions after 22 weeks of pregnancy to homicide and establish sentences of 6 to 20 years in prison. Abortion is allowed in Brazil only in cases of rape, fetal deformation, or when the mother's life is in danger. If the bill becomes law, abortions by rape victims would be considered homicide after 22 weeks gestation. Residents of a Chilean coastal spa resort live in fear of their homes collapsing after a sinkhole opened up at the foot of an apartment building after heavy rains battered the South American country. Residents of the apartment building complex were evacuated after a sinkhole measuring some 15 meters wide and 30 meters deep opened up on June 8th. The causes of the sinkhole are still under investigation. An Asian elephant in central Thailand has given birth to a rare set of twins in what caretakers have described as a miracle. Twins occur in only 1% of elephant births. Male-female are even more rare. Experts call this a miracle. A rare occurrence provides a unique opportunity for researchers to study the dynamics of twin elephant calves and the development. And still to come on this edition of DD India Live. India's Home Minister Amit Shah reviews security situation in Jammu and Kashmir in the wake of recent terrorist attacks. Indian Railways enters its name into Limca Book of Records for most people at a public service event at multiple venues. And Nilgiri Mountain Railway in southern India recognized as UNESCO World Heritage.
Voice of a rising aspirational world. Stories of challenges, struggles and accomplishment. A world battling conflict, hunger and poverty. Embracing growth, development, science and technology. A voice of progress, a voice of unity. Watch Voice of the Global South with me, Akshay Dongre, only on DD India.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India Live. I'm Shubhendu Ghosh. In the wake of terrorist attacks in Jammu and Kashmir recently, India's Home Minister Amit Shah chaired a high-level meeting in New Delhi to assess the current scenario in the Union Territory and evaluate measures to curb terror activities. National Security Advisor Ajit Doval, Lieutenant Governor of Jammu and Kashmir Manoj Sinha and senior officials attended the high-level meet. During the meeting, Home Minister assessed the readiness of security grid for the upcoming annual Amarnath Yatra scheduled to commence on June 29th. The Indian Railways has achieved a remarkable feat by entering the Limca Book of Records, the milestone achieved for organizing an event with the highest attendance at multiple locations simultaneously. Ministry of Railways organized an event on 26 February 2024, which was attended by some 40,19,516 people at across 2,140 venues. The event was organized for the inauguration of road under railway bridges and for laying foundation stones of rail stations by Prime Minister Modi. The mammoth effort and mobilization of Indian Railways has been recognized, and the same has entered into the prestigious Limca Book of World Records. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi is back with his monthly program Mann Ki Baat on Sunday, June 30th. He has an opportunity to share innovative ideas and suggestions directly with the Prime Minister. Some of the suggestions would be referred by the Prime Minister during his address. The first ever documentary film bazaar at Mumbai International Film Festival was inaugurated today by filmmaker Apurva Bakshi. After the inauguration, Bakshi said that MIFF, there's a lot of help for the filmmakers, including funding aspect. The festival will host Film Bazaar from June 16th to 18th, and this dedicated space caters specifically to documentaries, animation and short films, fostering collaboration and growth within these vibrant mediums. This marks a significant step towards forward for MIFF, solidifying its position as the premier platform for non-feature films in South Asia. Let's now take a look at other stories making news today. The Nilgiri Mountain Railway, recognized as UNESCO World Heritage Site for its breathtaking scenic routes, recently celebrated its 125th anniversary. The historic railway, which runs through the landscape of Nilgiri Hills in Tamil Nadu, has been a symbol of engineering marvel and natural beauty since its inception in 1899. Indo-Tibetan Border Police mountaineers conducted a rescue operation in Lahaul Spiti border after an American paraglider went missing for 4 days. Authorities say there are concerns he might have met with an accident. Efforts are on to locate the mountaineers. Shimla comes alive with music, dance and cultural extravaganza as much anticipated International Shimla Summer Festival returns to rich ground. Celebrated for over 64 years, the iconic festival has become a beacon of joy and artistic expression, drawing participants and spectators from far and wide. In Jammu and Kashmir, authorities introduced a series of vocational courses specifically for girls at the Government Girls High School. The initiative aims to empower young girls by equipping them with practical skills that can enhance their employability and capabilities. The success of the program is a testament to government's commitment to promoting gender equality and empowering women. Bhopal, the vibrant city, came alive with colors and flavors to celebrate King of Fruits, mango, at the annual Mango Festival. The festival showcased an array of mango varieties, the stalls brimming with Alfonso, Kesar and many more, attracting mango enthusiasts from across the region. And now all the updates on the International Yoga Day, which will be celebrated on 21st June. As the 10th International Day of Yoga approaches, High Commission of India in Sri Lanka continues to mark the occasion. The 10-day-long Yoga Mahotsav is being observed across the island with a focus topic on each day. Events were held on Sunday morning with the specific theme of Yoga for Spirituality at various places in the island nation. And ahead of International Yoga Day, High Commission of India in the United Kingdom organised yoga event at Trafalgar Square, which witnessed significant participation of more than 700 enthusiastic people. The focus remains on continuing yoga's role in healing and personal growth rather than aiming for differences in participation. Since 2015, International Day of Yoga is celebrated across the world annually on June 21st, following its adoption by the United Nations in 2014. Ahead of International Yoga Day, a week-long yoga celebration has been organized in North Indian city of Mathura district. Over 800 people participated in the celebration. The event was graced by the presence of former Minister Shrikant Sharma. On to business news now. International credit rating agency Moody's has released a report forecasting that the BSE Sensex will reach 82,000 mark within next year, marking a 14% increase. The report attributes the projected growth to the policy consistency of Prime Minister Modi's third term, which is expected to continue until 2029. The report further added that markets expect more structural reforms in the coming days. Moody's also anticipates that Indian government will continue to prioritize macroeconomic stability, particularly by maintaining a vigilant stance on inflation. The report suggests that with continuity of government, markets can expect additional structural reforms. In sports, India's last Group A match that was against Canada in Florida was called off on Saturday without a ball being bowled due to wet outfield. India, who have already advanced to the Super 8, go into the next round staying unbeaten. The other team from Group A to enter the Super 8 is United States. Meanwhile, Pakistan, Canada and Ireland are the teams that got eliminated from the group. The Super 8 phase of the tournament will be held in West Indies. India will take on Afghanistan on 20th of June. However, this is not the first time a match was abandoned in Florida due to rain. Earlier matches between Sri Lanka, Nepal, United States, Ireland were also washed out. Our correspondent Tapush Bhattacharya was also in Florida, but unfortunately could not watch the match as well. He spoke to fans who were quite disappointed as they came from quite far to watch this match.
Joining me is Saurav Netravalkar, the guy who has made everyone sit up and take note of in this particular T20 World Cup. Saurav, you have been absolutely scintillating against Pakistan, against India. Tell us more about your journey from Mumbai to, in USA.
Yeah, thank you so much. So to give you in a brief nutshell, grew up in Mumbai, born and brought up in Mumbai. Started playing age of 10, I'd say, in the streets of Mumbai, gully cricket. Played school cricket, got into club cricket team, under 13, under 15, came through all age groups, played state cricket, ultimately made my way to the Indian under 19 team, 2010. In parallel, I was also pursuing my education with the same intensity because I was passionate about both. It needed a lot of sacrifices from both sides. My family, I think my parents, my grandparents were also there at that time, have been very supportive for me to have this journey. So I'm grateful for all that. In similar way, did my engineering in Mumbai, 2013 to 15, 2 years I pursued cricket full time, made my way to the Mumbai first class team. But in 2 years, in 2015, I decided because I wasn't making it to the senior team or getting a big break in cricket, I thought that I'll practically go for higher education, and I sort of, emotional moment for me, I gave up on my cricket dream at that time and I moved to the US. But life had other plans. It gave me a second chance. I'm really grateful for that. And a new journey started here where I used to balance my work life with my cricket. I still do that. And slowly started playing club cricket here to franchise tournaments, and then gradually made my way to the national team. So it's been transformative journey full of like ups and downs. So I'm really grateful for my opportunity.
But it's not going to be easy, isn't it? You will be moving to a Caribbean island, and it's going to be a very hectic schedule also for you guys.
Absolutely. I mean, we're going to play the top teams in the world. So there's no scope for even giving less than 100%. Even your 100% might still not be enough. So what's in our hands to give 100% and plan better, practice hard. I think we have 4 more days for our first game. So yeah, we're all excited and geared up for it.
Much appreciated time. So that was Saurav Netrwalkar, key member of the USA team which have made it to the Super 8 stage. And we're looking forward to a good fight there also. With camera person S. Jayashankar, this is Taposh Bhattacharya for DD India from Florida.
That was an exclusive conversation with Saurav Netrwalkar, the star player from the US who's helped his team reach the Super 8. That's all for this edition of DD India Live. Let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on the DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS. Scan this QR code on the screen to download now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Shubhendu Ghosh from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India Live. Namaskar.
अच्छी चीजों में